I'm going to vlog while I drive today. My baby's sleeping in the back, and he did not sleep last night. Wouldn't that have been nice? I'm in my big old 12-passenger van, and I am heading to the school today to have play practice. But for those of you that don't know, we have a school, K through 12 school. There's, I think, 58 or 60 enrolled this year. We're on year 3, and we are a university model school. And that means they're on campus 3 days, home 2, and they have worship and arts emphasis throughout the day. So I wrote a play because that seemed like a good idea, and we have play practice, so I'm heading there for play practice. But I was just thinking about tragedy and what you do in the middle of tragedy. I was thinking that because I don't normally think those kind of thoughts, but I was thinking that today because I had a real chill morning and just decided not to do any work the first half of the morning and just listen and pray. And then I get my car and I'm heading to the school, and I stopped and got a coffee because that's important. And my brother calls, and we were talking, and he was telling me how he was tired because he'd been up since the thunder this morning. And I was like, oh yeah, I heard that. And he was like, so many people died last night. And I was like, wait, what are you talking about? And so he proceeded to tell me about what happened in Nashville last night with the tornadoes. Apparently a tornado touched down for like 50 minutes, and lots of people and all their things are destroyed. So I was just thinking, gosh, what does the believer do? What does the believer do in the middle of all of that? Like, how do you process that? And I personally, the only tragedies I can refer to are on a personal level. It's miscarriage. I've had 2 miscarriages. I have 2 babies that are with Jesus, and I have 8 babies on this side of heaven. And so I talk to women all the time who have had miscarriages. I'm a pastor's wife, so unfortunately it's a frequent thing, which I don't really understand. I don't have any revelation on that entirely yet. But when I was 26, I had my first miscarriage, 26 or 27. And if I'm being honest with you, I just kind of went into a hole for a good 6 months. I quit praying, I quit asking, I quit believing. It was a real crisis of faith for me because I had prayed, I had done all the right things, I had fasted, I had declared, I'd spoken the word over my body and over my baby, and I lost anyways. And so I couldn't reconcile that in my brain, and so I went to a very bad place in my heart and mind and just was like, God, you're a liar and I'm not asking you for anything anymore. And so 6 months in, my spiritual father and I were talking at a dinner table. Gosh, lots of good things happen at dinner tables. And he said, gosh, you're in a really bad place. And I was like, yeah, I am. And he just walked me through some things and asked me some questions. And I landed here. It's a long process, but this is where I landed. I landed with this perspective that my baby, now babies, will never, ever have to have a spanking. And I'm going to cry when I say this. And they're never going to know sin. And they're never going to know pain. They're never going to have an argument. They're never going to feel rejection. They're never going to feel loss. They're never going to wrestle on this side of earth to see him face to face. The moment they open their eyes, they saw him, and they have never known lack. I have 2 children that have only known perfection, and they have never known lack, and they will never know lack. And when I understood that I did not lose my babies were not lost, my babies were in heaven with Jesus, then tragedy and heartbreak became so sweet. It became so sweet. And I was just thinking about how having the perspective of heaven allows you to see beyond where you're at, and how life-giving and hope-bringing that is. And so I just say all that to say, if you're in tragedy, if you've just experienced the loss of a loved one, if you've had a miscarriage or miscarriages, and I know women who've lost 7 and 8 children, but if you can steal away and wrestle it out, you'll have to wrestle it out. If you can steal away and get perspective from heaven and see how heaven sees it, then what was devastating has the potential to become so life-giving, and really, I believe, transition you to never lose. The life of the believer should be full of victory. We should move from victory to victory to victory to victory. And in those times, in my first miscarriage especially, I thought, oh my gosh, I lost. And I think the hardest thing for me was I did it all right. I mean, I prayed the right prayers, and I thought, gosh, if I did it right and I lost, like, what happens when I do it wrong, And I landed with none of that matters. And I arrived at the school. I'm a whopping 4 minutes away. 6. I drove slow. If we can understand that God's always working and we never lose, and even when we temporarily lose down here, in eternity we've won, and there's no sting to death and loss because it's all redeemed on the other side. Oh my goodness. It just really positions you to live in a whole nother level of peace and grace and rest. And I want to live there. I lost again 2 years ago in September of 2018. And I remember the morning it happened. I woke up and I was hurting. I was in pain. I was probably 11 weeks. And I remember waking up at 4 a.m. and I knew something wasn't right. And I began to pray and do what I know to do. And I knew by 7 a.m. that morning that this thing wasn't turning around. And I remember curling up in my bed and grabbing my pillow and singing a song called Confident by Stephanie Gretzinger, who I'm a huge fan. And I remember singing, I'm confident your faithfulness will see me through. I'm confident your faithfulness will see me through. My soul can rest, my righteousness is found in you. And I had this perfect peace in the middle of loss. And when I got up that next morning, I went to the doctor, and the doctor just confirmed what I knew, that I had lost my baby at home. And I was sad because I won't get the opportunity to love that baby on this side of heaven and to know that baby. But I had such peace because I knew that I didn't lose this baby. And I just wanted to share that with you today. And gosh, I hope that helps some mamas out there grieving babies that are in heaven with Jesus. I love what my OB/GYN says. He says that in Revelation there's an army that comes back for us, that ride in with Jesus, and they're an unstained army, and he believes that army is our babies. And I am geeked out about that. I'm pretty sure I'll recognize them, right? So Maybe it's not miscarriage for you. Maybe it's loss. Maybe it's rejection. Maybe you're abused. I don't know. The list is long. But if you can see how heaven sees it, you'll have hope. And you won't just survive and make it through. You'll conquer. And there will be no sting of loss. And pain won't win. Hope will win. And that's my prayer for you today. So, love you guys. Thanks for watching.